Hi, and now we'll be looking at operators in Python. And our learning objective is to know what operators are in Python and the various kinds of operators. Operators in Python are symbols that perform operations on variables and values. In other words, they are used in manipulating variables. And Python supports various operators, which include the arithmetic operators, comparison operators, logical operators, assignment operators, etc. We'll be looking at these operators one after the other, starting with the arithmetic operators. The arithmetic operators perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. They are the basic operators that we know from our mathematical lessons. Now we're starting with addition, adding two values together, subtraction, taking out values from one another, multiplication, division, flawed division, modulus, and exponential, or which is what power. So I believe the two that looks a little bit abstract is the flawed division and modulus, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So the flawed division is mainly dividing two values but discarding the remainder. So I'm having say 7 divided by say 2. Now, when I divide 7 by 2, I should be having 3 remaining 1. Okay. So, what this will give me should be 3. So, what it does is this, it gives you the quotient and discards the remainder. Now, the modulus does the opposite. So, when we say 7, okay, modulus 2. So what modulus does is this, discards the quotient, gives you the remainder. So I should be having 1 in this case. Okay. Now going down to the comparison or relational operators, what it does is this, it compares two values and returns a Boolean value. Remember, the Boolean value is just true or false. Okay. It compares two values and returns either true or false. The first one we have is the equal to. Remember and be careful that the equality sign, the single equality sign is used for assignment. So this is where we use this sign to assign values to a variable. But when there are two, we are trying to compare two values. All right. So I'm trying to say I want to compare if 5 is equal to 5. Definitely. So 5 equal to 5. Definitely Python will say true because 5 is equal to 5. Now the negation here plays when you put, instead of this equality sign, you put an exclamation mark here before the equality sign. Then follows the greater. The greater sign compares two values to know if the one, depending on how it's being used, okay, it compares to know the value which is greater amongst the two value being compared. And if the statement is valid, it throws true, otherwise it's going to throw false. So from what we have there is 10 greater than 4. Of course this is yes, and it's going to say 2. So if we change this, when we change this to say 34, it's going to throw false. The same thing as the less than. Now the greater than or equal to only considers any of them. So it's either it is greater than or it is equal to. So when we say 8, when we say 8 is greater than or equal to 8. So of course 8 is not greater than 8, but 8 is equal to 8. So provided one of these conditions is being met, it's going to throw true. Okay. So but when we say something like 16 here, or 17, is going to throw false. Okay. Now the same thing as the less than. Now the next we move into the logical operators. So logical operators that are used to combine conditional statements. So you're having two statements and you're trying to what? Compare them. So the first one says the first operator we have there is and. You type it and in when you're doing it. So I'm trying to compare. Looking at the first code we have there, we have 5 is greater than 2, and 10 is greater than 3. Now, this is a statement of its own, and this is a statement of its own. Now, for this to throw out true, or for the entire statement to be true, both statements must be valid. In this case, 5 is actually greater than 2, and in the second statement, 10 is actually greater than 3. Hence, this cell is going to throw true. Okay? Now, when one of the statement is true, that's when the or comes to play. So when we try, let me just copy this and edit the numbers. So I'm trying to say 5 is less than 2. If I use and it's going to throw false, but when I use or, 5 is less than 2 is false, quite all right. But 10 is greater than 3. So this statement is going to throw what? True. Or compares to two statements. If one of them is correct, it goes true, otherwise it throws false. And the last conditional statement that we have the not. So it negates whatever statement that we have. If the statement is true, the not operator will negate it to false. If the statement is false, the not operator negates it to what? To true. All right. Now, assignment operator. Assignment operator assigns a value to variables. The first one we have, I can call this first one the real assignment operator and call this one a reassignment. Well, both are just assigning, but the rest of them reassigns whatever that we've defined here. Okay, so it starts with saying, okay, let x, from what we have there, let x be 5. Okay, and I've saved 5 to memory. When I add another cell and says, whatever x is, can you add 4 to it? If I enter this, then call x back here one more time to print x. So I should be having 9. Okay, so what the rest does is this picks up where this one stops and perform the operations on this. So if you follow this, we have x as 5. Then we added 3 to it. It gave us 8. We added this to it. We subtracted this. It gave us 6. So when you look at this example here, it assigned 5 to x. Now the second line says add 3 to whatever x has been, which is 5. Now it gives us 8 here. Now take out 2 from there, it gives us 6. Multiply by 4, it gives us 24. Divide by 2, it gives us 12. 4 divided by 3, it gives us 4. Or, of course, there's no remainder there. Then modulus by 5. So 4 divided by 5, so it should be 0 remainder 4 because 5 is greater than 4. So that's why I'm having 4 here. Then raise this 4 to the power of 2, I'm having 16. And this is the assignment operators for you. And number 5, we have the identity operators. Okay, it checks if two objects have the same memory location. So if I assign 5 to x and also assign 5 to y, if I query x, is x same thing as y? So x has been assigned 5 in memory and y has also been assigned 5 in memory. So when I query to know if x is actually equal to y, this will throw out true. Okay, and if I change this to say 4, it's going to throw false. Okay, if I say it's not, of course it's true, so it's going to throw out true. So it returns true if objects are the same, and it returns true if objects are different. So in this case, the first one we did, x is the same thing as the x was 5 and y was also x is 5 and y was 5. Then I changed y to 4, and now this is what we have. Then we have the membership operator. So membership operator checks if value exists in a sequence. So let's say I have a list, say my list, I create a list of countries. Starting with Nigeria. Just bear with me. Nigeria, Ghana. Remember, these are strings, so these are strings. That's why I'm using the quotation mark. Then I have Canada. Now I can query to say is I want to know if Nigeria is is in my list. So this is going to print true because Nigeria is in the list. Okay, so when I try to query, say Japan, is Japan in my list? Of course, this will throw false. So I'm using this to check if a value exists within the given list. Then finally, we have the input and output operators. Where you see this come to play is when you're trying to fill a form. Okay, so when you load a page, the space that you fill your data is behind at the back end side. These are what input statements waiting to capture whatever you've written down there. So let's say I have username and I use this input operator there. So I have a bracket. Kindly enter your name. Enter your name. Okay. So when I hit enter, so it's waiting for my name now. So when I type I can hit enter. I've saved I to username. So when I call username here, just username, I'm going to have Ike. So we've come to the end of the different kinds of operators that we have in Python. To recap, we said that operators are what they are symbols that you use to manipulate what variables and values in Python, and they include the arithmetic, comparison, logical, assignment, identity, and membership operator. If you have anything that is confusing within this lesson, do hit me up and do not forget to subscribe and like um my channel. Stay tuned for more content. Bye.